Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Beery Good Entertainment. This is episode 57. This is our politics and controversy episode, and today we're going to be discussing the news. My friend is here. Hi, Lola. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I am so thirsty. So thirsty.
Me
It has been a very
too.
long week.
I got that. You got that one right. It's Saturday. It's time to celebrate.
Yep, absolutely.
So what are you celebrating with?
Well, I'm celebrating because I'm down to 3 chapters in my ebook that I have to re-record
Wow.
instead of like 100 million things that I have to do.
That's excellent. That's hardly anything at all.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be getting my ebook out Monday. Monday.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
Is it going out to Amazon? Kindle?
Yeah, Kindle.
I'll buy it.
Just the ebook. And then the audio book will probably be coming out next month. Is the soonest we can do it because we have to buy some music.
That is excellent. Yeah, I did a subscription. Well, there's some music that I love, and it's free as long as you attribute it.
Yeah,
I done forgot the name of it, but I went ahead and bought a subscription to not bought a subscription, but one-time thing. You can buy the one-time thing and have lifetime rights to it. So.
Yeah. Sweet.
It's like $30 or something.
Well, I heard you have a special beer.
I do. So a month or so ago, I went to Total Wine, and they had not one, but 3 different Game of Thrones beers. So, yeah, last weekend I had the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms, which was a sour.
Mm-hmm.
Now this time I have Mother of All Dragons, which is very pretty.
It is. Look at that big red label. Yeah.
And embossed and gorgeous. So it is a smoked porter and creek ale blend. So I'm not sure how I'm going to, I used to love the creeks, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? I used to love those, but now that I'm used to slightly heartier beers, I don't go to them as much. And so I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about a smoked porter and a creek, but we'll see. Back in the day, I used to do they would make mixes. Like there was a snake bite, which was a creek and something else. I don't remember. So who knows? It may take me back to yonder year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I almost dropped it on my keyboard. It's heavy. All right.
Yeah, no, all those bottles aren't they?
Yes. And I'm saving the bottles because they might be worth something one day. And it's just nice to keep them. They're pretty.
Yeah, we have a Game of Thrones beer, but we're waiting until all the Game of Thrones are out before we watch them, and then we'll drink the beers one at a time.
That's a good way to do it because I'm biting my nails waiting for the next one. I'm like, I can't do it.
I have to avoid all my friends talking. I have a little thing that goes through Facebook and removes all the GOT references.
What a good idea. That's awesome.
And I also put it into Twitter. I muted all the Game of Thrones, Game Thrones, GOT, mention of any actor.
Mm-hmm. That's smart because, on Scannerdrum's Twitter, I was all about Game of Thrones Sunday night. I mean,
oh yeah,
I try not to spoil things. It's more like, oh my goodness, look who's here, things like that. But still, I mean, I may let things slip here now without realizing it. So it's good to avoid those tweets.
I love looking at your live Twitter. It kills me not to be able to look at your Twitter right after you've watched Game of Thrones.
I know. You should. You really should.
Yeah, but I can't. Otherwise, it's going to spoil it. And we don't.
I know. You don't want to spoil it. You don't, because that'll ruin it. And it's the last season. Yeah. So it has to be perfect.
Yes.
Well, when you do finally get to see it, there's stuff you should look up. Like I tweeted about. I saw Leslie Jones from SNL. She loves Game of Thrones. And so she does a segment with Seth Meyers on his show called Game of Jones. It's a pre-tape segment. And it's us watching her on the couch reacting to the show. And it's hilarious And they put, they put the scenes in the show so you see what she's reacting to, and it's just hilarious.
That's great.
I just love it. I just watched one today, so definitely when you do get to watch it, look up some of those YouTube videos.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's see what's going on here. I got my Game of Thrones glass. Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones.
I love those glasses. They're beautiful.
Me too. I love it so much. Can you see it?
Yep.
Look at that. So pretty. It's very dark. Got a nice head on it. I don't want to spill it. I'm over here because the cat had my usual haunt.
Oh.
And I didn't want to make her move. She's already mad at me as it is. So looks very nice. Smells like creek. Smells like sour type.
Does it smell like cherries or strawberries or just kind of a sour?
Cherry. I would say cherry, and I think this is supposed to be cherry. Is that what I said? Okay. Soaked porter and tart cherry creek. Yep. So it smells like cherries. It's not as sugary smelling as the one I was talking about, the framboise. That's it, the lambic framboise that I used to drink back in the day.
Yeah.
Not quite as sweet as those, but it definitely reminds me of it. Definitely very cherry. Not a whole lot of porter because the cherry, it just overpowers everything. And it's still got a nice head even after a minute. I don't get the smoked porter at all. Honestly, the cherry just takes over everything. Mm-hmm. It's good. I'll drink it, but it really tastes like a sour, honestly. It just tastes like a sour.
Well, is it did you have it in the fridge?
Yeah, for today.
So it might,
the flavors might come out more.
It might still be a little chilly for the smoke.
Yeah. So it may come out as it goes along. On the back end, I do get a little bit of the smoke, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Mainly it's just the sour, which is fine. I like sours. I was hoping for something a little bit more hearty after the sour I had last weekend. So I didn't even really look at the style before I put it in the refrigerator. I just put it in the refrigerator. So it's still good. I'm not going to kick it out or anything. I would have liked a little bit more of the smoked powder.
I wonder why they chose cherry. And Oma Gang, your page says absolutely none of like the stuff I need to know about it. Oh, there it is. 6.5%. Okay.
Yeah, not bad. So I'll be okay.
Yeah, that's weird. It says it's supposed to have lingering notes of cherry. Well,
what lingers is the smoked. I will say the smoked is lingering, but up front it's all cherries, which is okay. It's just not quite what I was wanting right now, but that's okay. I can't complain too much. It's Game of Thrones beer.
That is true. Well, I had to go a little bit lighter.
Okay.
Both, on my stomach and on my pocketbook. So
you got that one right. Mm-hmm.
I chose Pelican Brewing's Kawanda Pre-Prohibition Cream Ale.
Oh, that sounds really good. Okay.
Now I have had this before. It's
okay.
It's always a delightful one to have, especially if you're looking for something like drinkable, and especially something like before you eat. This is pretty bloody good.
Okay. I'm interested to find out if it's really creamy. I love cream ales. Looks creamy. It's pretty opaque.
Yeah, it's a bit fizzy, and then it clears up after a little bit. It's not like super clear, but it is almost clear. And the head will go. Its head is pretty white, and that'll go away pretty quick.
I see the fizzies on it. I like the fizzies, the bubbles.
Oh, yeah. Plenty of carb in this.
Good.
This is what gets me about good cream ales. They remind me of my favorite German lagers in the smell.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
It smells very clean and grainy.
That's good.
And then, yeah, you really get that that lovely creamy mouthfeel to
Good.
it.
I like the creaminess. Mm-hmm.
And then it's for those people who have, if you've never had a cream ale,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like they dumped cream in it.
Yeah.
The creaminess is definitely in the mouthfeel, and then you get a nice grainy, a light grainy beer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an ale, not a lager.
Not a lager, it's an ale.
Mm-hmm. So this was fermented at a little bit of a higher temperature.
Right.
Definitely well worth the wait.
Good, I'm glad. So you didn't short yourself at all.
Oh, no. Nope.
Sounds awesome.
No, and a 6-pack is pretty cheap. I believe it was approximately $9 for a 6-pack, which is pretty good. It can
That's
range.
normal for craft.
Yeah, it can range. But it's available at 7-Eleven. So
that's good to know. So you don't have to go to a fancy store to get it. That's
no, you don't have to. You don't have to hike yourself all the way down to the supermarket.
That's good. Well, for me to get decent beer, I usually have to go to a specialty store.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Aha! I see one of our favorite people, Che. Hi, Che.
Hey, Che.
I love you.
He's waiting for his half.
Yeah.
He needs to be fed. That's why he poked up. He's like, I'm here. Hello.
But I don't know what he's thinking. He's got the grill and the chicken.
Oh, that sounds nice. Well, he wants something to wash it down with. He's like, pretty please. I would give him some of the Game of Thrones, but that would be hard to get over to Oregon.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
One day we'll be able to, we'll be able to do cheers, and I'll be able to transfer my beer to you.
Oh,
that'll be one day.
Little mini beer transporters.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be awesome?
It would.
Upload the beer to you.
Have a
and
little.
I'd be like, it's
just have a little miniature transporter on your desk.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah. And click, here you go. Here's some. That would be so cool. We'd never have to meet in person with anyone ever again.
Oh man. That'd be kind of sad.
Here, it would be, but it'd be less expensive.
That's true. Yeah. Rather than sending all that olive oil through the mail.
Exactly. That's a lot of olive oil and hot sauce. A lot of
hot sauce. Yes.
I actually, when I do it, I will actually buy like nice hot sauce, like the kind you get from a specialty store.
Yeah.
And send it with the package.
Yeah. Well,
I'll be like, look, here's your hot sauce.
Well, we do have a few beer news articles. I'm not going to spend too much time on the beer news articles. You found an interesting one, though.
I did. I don't have the link. Is it in the show notes?
It is. It's right under the beers on top.
Oh, let's see. Okay. Is it
It's the very first one.
Oh, okay. There we go. Deschutes Brewery. So I did. Okay, there it is. All right. So let me open it up. The Deschutes Brewery chef dishes on the brewery food scene. Now, Deschutes is in Oregon, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Bend?
In Bend, Oregon.
How far away is Bend?
Oh, it's a couple hours away from us. Not too far.
Okay. Have you been there?
I've been to Bend. I have not been to Deschutes.
Okay. Well, he talks about it. He says the vibe is very Northwest. It's made from scratch. He says they're family oriented. A lot of people say that. I don't always know what that means. He said a lot of employees have been there for a long time, 15 years. So that's good. It's nice when there's longevity. It lets you know that the staff's treated well. He says he's a member of the Bend Sustainability Group, so that's good. They're being responsible. They're doing composting and the like. And he's talking about using beer in his recipes. And he says when they decide what type of beer in a recipe, they look at the malt, what the hops are, the yeast strain. So they try to match that up with the dish. So that's good. And it actually gives a recipe. Deschutes jalapeno dip serves 4. And let's see what kind of beer he puts in it. I don't see the beer. in the
Mirror,
recipe.
Mirror Pond Pale Ale.
Oh, you see that?
Yeah, I can see it. It's almost all the way at the bottom of the recipe, right after salt and
Oh,
pepper.
let me go back up. Salt and pepper. 6 ounces Deschutes Mirror Pond Pale Ale. Awesome. Well, this is good to know. I mean, I can't get Deschutes out here, but I could try it with a different beer and maybe I'll make my own name for it.
Ooh, do you still get Sam Adams?
Oh, yeah, we get a lot of Sam Adams.
See, I get Deschutes. You get Sam Adams.
Well, then I'll use Sam Adams.
Yeah, you can use Sam Adams. Yeah,
It'll be very East Coast, huh?
I guess. Probably any pale ale would go well.
Yeah. He's also got a recipe for fresh squeezed vinaigrette, so that's nice.
Ooh.
Although I'm lazy, I get that from the grocery store. It's not fresh.
Yeah, fresh squeeze IPA. I mean, I don't like a fresh hopped IPA unless
I don't either.
it comes out of a tap, because I just don't want to take the chance that the store's been letting it sit in the back.
Is that the same as wet hopped?
Yes.
Is that the same thing as wet hopped? I thought it was. Yeah, that seems a little trepidatious.
Fresh hopping and wet hopping are pretty much the same thing. Dry hopping is when you add it after you make the beer.
It's been conditioned and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's been conditioned, dried.
Yeah, dried out
in the breeze.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not as liable to be polluted by something or compromised. Maybe if I were in their actual bar, then I would probably do it, because you got to think. I mean, they're serving it to people right in front of them. If they have everyone get sick, that's bad.
Yeah. So, that's. Oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I was gonna say it would be better. That would be closest to the source, probably. So you would feel better about doing the fresh hops.
Yeah. A shout out to our friend Cybernaut.
Hey, Cy.
One of his favorites is out. Lagunitas Waldo's Special Ale is out.
Ooh, so where's Waldo?
If you have been looking forward to this 11.7%, 100 plus IPU, dankest, dirtiest beer you've ever tasted.
I won't fight him for it. You know, I don't like that much hops.
Then it is out now. Go looking for it. We have it on tap here at Suds and Suds, and it's a special favorite over there.
Okay.
People love it.
And one of the things I like about Lagunitas is they're usually very affordable. And that's good. You usually don't pay a whole lot. I mean, it's I would say the least expensive craft beer just about out there.
Yeah, that is true. You know, they're 22s of Imperial, like $2.99. That's excellent. It floors me when I see things like that. They're really using their ability to, pull their prices down, and I appreciate that.
I do too, especially when you are living paycheck to paycheck and you still want good beer.
Yes,
you have choices. And this says they met in 1971, my birth year, on the afternoon at 4:20 in the afternoon, which is funny because it's 4:20 today. And of course, a lot of people know what that means. I don't, because I work for the federal government, and you don't because you get money from the federal government. But other people know what it means.
Well, that's probably where they got the idea for dank.
Probably. 4:20. Okay.
Yep. And if you want to read that whole story, it is on Lagunitas.com. And any brewer from Lagunitas is totally willing to tell you any story about their brewery that you want them to tell you.
Which is awesome. I love that. I love openness like that.
Yep. Now, speaking of movies.
Ooh, 1 week.
There was an appearance in Marvel's Endgame.
You know what? I haven't even looked at this trailer, I don't think.
Yeah, I know. The trailer's pretty awesome. Apparently, Creature Comforts Athena actually makes an appearance in the movie, an actual craft beer.
So cool. So I guess it didn't get caught up in the snap.
In the snap. Oh, no.
I guess the Brewers didn't.
Yeah. Craft beer survived. Craft
yes,
beer
that's
survived.
all I need to know. I don't even have to go next week. That's all I need to know. I don't have to see the movie. Craft beer survived. Although it won't be around for long if the Brewers got caught up in the snap.
What would what would have really been great if if some of the movies around Creature Comforts actually served the beer as a special thing. I don't know if they decided to do that or not. That would have been cool though.
Well, I'm sure they're excited. I mean, this has got to be a good thing for them.
Creature Comforts is a pretty small brewery, but I believe a couple of the people responsible for the movie are real big fans of the brewery.
Awesome.
And in craft brewing in general. So,
well, the movies are filmed around Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it makes sense that they would be enjoying some of the local craft beer there.
Oh, yeah.
Which is awesome. Oh, the article said the same thing I do. Craft beer survives Thanos.
Yeah.
That was number 2 on their thing. They said the same thing I do. Yeah. And the fine folks at Creature Comfort survived Thanos snapshot. Well, we don't really know that they survived because that could be, it was just a bottle, right? Was it a bottle?
It was a can.
It was a can. So it could have been canned before the snap.
It could, but, well, I guess we'd have to see if he actually drinks it or not.
This might be a subplot. Maybe this will be an important subplot of Avengers Endgame, whether Creature Comfort and the staff survived.
There we go.
That's going to be the motivation. Forget Black Panther and all the other, and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Forget all that. The main motivation is whether Creature Comfort survives the snap. And if they did it, that's where the revenge is going to come in.
Oh my goodness. So that would have been a cool trailer too. To actually film at Creature Comforts, and like somebody starts to disappear, and like somebody reaches out and saves their beer.
That'd be awesome. And you think they're trying to save them, and they really just get the beer before it falls.
That's right.
that would be a good end scene. You know how Marvel movies they always have like 2 end credit scenes?
Yes.
That would be an awesome end credit scene. It's like, oh, save the beer. I can see Thor doing that. I can see Thor doing that. You think he's trying to save the person, but he's really just grabbing their beer. Yeah, that would be cool. I would like that.
All righty. And an event, the only event that I could actually find, R2 Hop 2 is happening in 7 days.
Huge.
At Fordham and Dominion Brewery in Dover, Delaware.
Neat.
So if you're near Dover, Delaware, get out there and give R2 Hop 2 some love.
I wonder if that's going to be Star Wars themed.
It could be. I mean, with a name like Dominion Brewery.
Well, R2 Hop 2.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I'm thinking it may be Star Wars because we're close to May the 4th be with you.
That's true. That's true.
So maybe it's themed like that. That would be cool.
And so we come to our main topic. I don't know how funny it was, but I decided to make the title, I Knews You Were Going to Say That.
Oh, that's cute. I knew you were going to say that.
I knew you were going to say that.
That's kind of cute. Uh-huh. I knew you were going to say that. Mm-hmm.
We all know that, different... we all use news differently, all of us. Mm-hmm. When I wake up, I'm basically going to just go through my basic schedule. I wake up and, like many people, I'm a grumpy riser.
Me too.
Don't even speak to me until I've had 2 cups of coffee and a gigantic bowel movement.
Ooh, all right, get it all out of the way. Sometimes at the same time, if push comes to shove.
I need some lightness and love in my life, so I watch The Daily Show while I'm having my coffee.
You know what? I love Trevor Noah, I really do, but I just forget to watch it. But I'll get clips. If I see a clip, I'll watch it. So I'll kind of watch it here and there.
Yeah, and I noticed clips appear on Facebook because I follow the Daily Show. So clips will appear, and the in between scenes are actually pretty valuable.
Really?
Yeah, the in between scenes are actually pretty valuable for gaining a little bit more insight into, especially like his guests.
Okay. So it's stuff that didn't appear on the broadcast?
Yes, it's stuff that's not recorded.
That's
like
cool.
They keep recording, but they don't put it into the whole show. Yeah, they don't put it into the show itself.
That's
so it's really cool. So after the Daily Show, when I actually the Daily Show, I'm actually catching up on the previous day's news.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because I have to watch it on the internet.
Yeah,
I can't watch it live.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, throughout the day, I go through and I will Google news headlines.
Okay.
And I will also listen to the BBC.
BBC, that's a good one too. Mm-hmm.
I'm really picky. I'm a really light news reader because I hate things that piss me off.
Yeah.
I noticed the regular Google News, you know how you flip on your phone, your Android phone, it'll give you news.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate that Google News because it is so irrelevant to me, and it makes me angry because it's all filled with gossip.
It's all sensationalist stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. I hate that. So I just go back and do like the news headlines in Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
And that's much more valuable to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course I'm interested in for sports, I'm only interested in soccer, which, football and the rest of the world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So all my scores from Mönchengladbach automatically come up on my phone because Google knows me. Tells me when the game starts, when scores happen, halftime score, and the final score, and all other football news I get it from the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
And then my basic interests are beer releases and events.
Mm-hmm.
Trump, not like the Republicans versus the Democrats, but exactly like Drumpfhead specific activities. What's he doing today?
Yeah, the facts.
Yeah. I also want to know about immigration.
Yeah.
Congressional activity. Just Congress, not the Senate.
Not the Senate? Okay.
Not the Senate.
Is there a reason?
It infuriates me. Every time I hear what the Senate is doing, it infuriates me, and I don't understand it. If it comes across with congressional activity, I'll watch it.
Well, there's more people in the Congress, so the Senate, you only get like 2 people per state for the Senate, and my experience has been they're always more concerned about getting elected rather than doing a whole lot of stuff.
Senate right now is pretty much Republican led, and a lot of the Republican activity kind of gets me.
Yeah. Congress has more interesting people and more interesting activity.
Yeah, and the arguments that happen are pretty relevant.
Yeah, that's true. That's good.
I'm interested in net neutrality, tech announcements of hardware pricing, game releases, or privacy issues. Right now, I want to hear about Brexit.
Yeah.
Usually, I want to hear about Brexit from the BBC. I don't want to hear from the American news corporations. I want to hear about local fire floods, riots, and any deaths of actors, singers, artists, writers, and philosophers, but not necessarily politicians.
Okay.
Even good politicians. It might be sad they're dead, but I'm not. It's not a big thing.
You're not invested.
No, I'm not. I'm not vested if a politician dies.
Yeah.
And it's really it fluctuates a lot. Like one week I might be super into net neutrality if there's an argument going on, but the next week I'm like, eh.
Well, the sad thing with net neutrality is I guess I've become cynical. When I think they took away the net neutrality stuff that Obama had put in.
Yes. is net neutrality is no longer a thing. It's very frustrating.
That's why I just got upset and sad and frustrated, and I stopped even looking for stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually called. I called my senator back then. It was Bill Nelson. I think that was him who I called. I called and voiced my opinion. This was like 7 years ago when they were doing something with net neutrality. They had something they were putting for a vote, and I expressed that I wanted net neutrality. I was positive for net neutrality. So that's one of 2 times I've contacted a Senate person.
Mm-hmm. So did the actual news spur you to do that, or did social media spur you to do that?
Probably news articles, because I like Boing Boing, and I like a lot of tech articles, tech news, and finding out that they were doing this vote. And apparently, if I remember correctly, this was like 7 years ago. The people who put forth the bill didn't think it was going to be a big deal. They thought it was a good thing, but it was severely going to limit net neutrality. And so they were surprised when there was a lot of backlash, and they started getting calls. So at that point, it didn't go through. I can't remember what the bill was or anything, but it didn't go through thanks to people making noise about it. So I felt good about myself for a little while until 2016, and everything just went to hell. And now we have beer.
Now we have beer.
We just have beer and Game of Thrones, and that's pretty much all we got.
So what news sources do you usually trust?
Well, the funny thing is, I'm very particular too. Now, I'll read, like if I'm on the web, sometimes I'll go and read, Google article, news.google.com and stuff. But I know there's going to be a mixture of legitimate stuff and, how do you scrape off that belly fat type stuff.
Yeah.
So I do that with a grain of salt. But as far as trusting, if I read something and I trust that it's the truth, there are only a few. There are only a few that I really trust implicitly. The first person is Cory Doctorow and his website, Boing Boing, because they're always fair. And he's a lot more, he is a lot more unbiased than we are, I think, because he's actually Canadian. So he's still looking at it from a lens of, oh, my crazy neighbors. But he's fair. And he's honest. I think one of the reasons why I trust him is because he's honest. He really is. I don't think he's out to hoodwink anyone. And he's one of the original people who would sell his books, maybe not free, but buy what you can, pay what you can and stuff like that. And so he's just kind of been a pioneer of mine for a long time. And he has really good articles. And for the tech side of thing, they find really good deals on educational series. Like I got for I don't remember how much, very little money, like $30 or something. I got the whole program for Security Plus to set you up for Security Plus. It was like a $4,000 value. Ooh. I got that. He's always having things like that on his site that you can get. And I got, for very little money, I got VPN software, but I've never used it. One day I'll learn how to do it. I just haven't learned yet. But I got it for really, really cheap.
Yeah.
So
we could even make that a topic one day.
We'll make that a topic and I'll learn how to do it, But yeah, I got it. He has incredibly good deals. You just want to salivate. I got one thing, some kind of program manager course for very little money. I haven't done that either. Unfortunately, I made the joke, when I spend the money, I wish they just gave you the knowledge. I wish you could just give them your credit card and they just upload the knowledge to your brain, but it doesn't work that way.
I wish that. So there are a lot of school kids that wish that too.
I know. Wouldn't it be nice? Here's my credit card. I know how to code.
Yeah.
Thanks. JavaScript. Yay. But it doesn't work that way because he's got a lot of code bundles too. They call them bundles. And there's some really good coding ones, but I know if I can't managed to learn to VPN right now. I'm just not in the right headspace to try to do anything. I'm trying to get back in the right headspace. Since my mom passed, I'm kind of opening up to learning stuff because I had shut down as a person while my mother was sick. I had just totally shut down.
Oh, very understandable. Yeah.
Yeah, everything was geared toward her. So I'm starting to kind of open up and, try different things and think about myself some more. Like I got my hair cut.
It looks great. Looks really good.
I hadn't gotten a new hairstyle in years. So I was just sitting in the salon and I was like, why didn't I cut it off? It's kind of like a new beginning thing. Signal the start of a new chapter. I'm like, I'm going to get my hair chopped off. So like, all right. Feels much better.
I'm actually going to warn our producer real quick. My computer is freezing up a little. So I may drop off. That doesn't mean that the cast will stop, but
yeah, I'll still be here.
I don't know if I'm overtaxing my computer, and I don't know. Well, you know what? I'm just going to restart, and I'm going to let you tell everybody about the rest of the actual news sources that you go through.
Sure.
Don't tell anybody about Bill Maher until I get back.
Okay, I'll wait on that one. Okay, I'll go through the positive first. All right. And so anyone, if you haven't heard of Boing Boing, it's spelled Boing and then Boing. It's awesome. Their website, just everything is awesome. Cory Doctorow is wonderful. He's got a new book out. I need to look into that. And he tours a lot. He's just great. Another person I trust implicitly is John Oliver, because he's always been honest. I've never felt like he was hoodwinking me. He doesn't do things with the thought of how is this going to benefit me, and he just has joy in everything. I just love him. Even he makes things relatable. Even just the most horrific things, he can kind of ease you into it by making you laugh, and so that's good. And the show is called Last Week with John Oliver. It's on HBO. It airs Sunday nights, and he'll take big chunks of time off, which bums me out because a lot of the times when he's off is when things happen. Like he was off for the presidential election. I was like, John Oliver, come on. And I don't know about now, but when I used to really look at his Twitter, he wouldn't update much on his Twitter during that time because I really wanted to know what he thought. But I really trust him. I used to listen to him. He had a podcast when he was in England, and it's called The Bugle, and it was him and his partner, his comedy partner, and sometimes it did get on my nerves because it was a little bit too cheeky for me, but I still listened to it. And then he came to The Daily Show. He was on The Daily Show for a long time, and then he got his own show on HBO. It's been on for several years now. It's only once a week, so it's not every night, but because it's only once a week, they put a lot into production and they spend a lot of money because they'll do things like somebody made wax figures of all the presidents, and so they bought them. So now they've got wax figures of the presidents. Oh, and they did another thing where they had dogs that would represent the Supreme Court justices. So, you would, I think he even had people vote on which dog they wanted to be the newest Supreme Court. It was really funny. They just really put a lot into their production. It's just hilarious. Other websites I tend to trust. Now, I won't swear that everything these websites do are the absolute truth, but I feel good about reading them. I feel like they're a good starting point. That's The Guardian, because once again, it's not American, it's English. So first of all, what they do is more international. So I get a broader scope of the world, but also they're not vested as much in American politics, although they're still vested, of course, because what happens to us is going to affect over the pond. But they still have that sort of outside view of it. NPR is another one. I love listening to NPR and reading what's on their website, listening to their podcast. Same thing with PBS. I don't watch PBS News as much as I used to. I used to. But NPR is a really good source. I pretty much trust them, though I'm sure they're not infallible. Everyone has biases, so I'm sure they have a few little biases, but they're a good source for news. Another good source is the Associated Press. If you just go to, I think, ap.com or ap.something. That's been around for a long, long time. And that's really just sort of, I think of it as being not branded toward any one company, because it's, as far as I know, it's just really different reporters coming together. And so there's not the bias that you might see in other websites. And it's really more factual, and there seems to be more reporting going on, unlike some websites where they're just reporting what other people said. That's the big problem. A lot of times when you read an article, they're just saying what another article said, and that article is saying what another article said. And that's how you spread rumors, and that's how reporting misfires. So we're still waiting on Miss Linda. Oh, I think she's coming back.
There we go.
All right. I got through the ones that I trust. So now we're at Bill Maher.
Excellent. Sorry about that technical glitch. I just upgraded my operating system. So.
Oh, and it broke.
I don't know what happened. Maybe I think there may have been a major update, and it just forced me to. We'll just freeze everything until she restarts her computer.
Yeah, they know how to get us to do their bidding. They hold all the cards. They know.
Okay, Bill Maher. Why did you stop watching Bill Maher?
I hate him so much.
You hate Bill Maher? Is this like you love to hate him, or you hate him?
I hate him because I'm disappointed in him. It's like when you find out a family member did some kind of crime and you're disappointed in them. Because I watched him. I watched him. I started watching him like in 1992. He did a show on ABC called Politically Incorrect, and I watched that.
Yes.
I watched that every week. And I always liked him. He is his own person. I will give him that. He is his own person. He doesn't abide by leftist, rightist, centrist, anything. He has his own opinions, and they go afoul of just about everybody. So during Politically Incorrect, I remember I did stop watching for a while because he said something about women drivers, and it pissed me off.
Yeah.
So I stopped watching for a while. But then, I got sucked back in. I was like, well, it was just one comment, whatever. And so I started watching again, and it was fine. And then he got fired, unfortunately, from ABC after September 11th. I don't remember what he said, but he said something. But whatever he said, it didn't piss me off. But then he started doing Real Time with Bill Maher on HBO. That comes on Friday nights. And I watched faithfully for years. I watched and I enjoyed it. Now, he would piss me off a lot. Because like I said, he does have his opinions, his own opinions. He doesn't kowtow to anybody. And a lot of things he said would piss me off. But nothing where I would just not watch him. I'm pretty tolerant when it comes to people because people have their own opinions. They're entitled to them. I don't have to like them. That's the way I look at things. But and he'd always kind of, I don't know, he skated really that fine line of pissing me off when it comes to stuff with like Islamic stuff. And then one day he was in a panel, I think it was with Ben Affleck. I remember watching it and I was so pissed off that I haven't watched him since. He insinuated that we should blame all Muslim people because it was Muslim people who did 9/11. So, yeah. And it pissed me off so much that I never watched him again. I have never watched him again. And that was 4 years ago. I don't know. Yeah. That was a while ago. And I have not. I mean, I had, 20 years invested in watching this man.
Yeah.
And I dropped it just like that because I was pissed. No, you do not blame a whole ethnicity or a whole religion. You do not blame a whole religion for a few people's actions. You do not do that. I would not tolerate that if somebody said that about Christians.
Yeah.
I would not tolerate if they said it about Jewish people, about pagan people.
Yeah.
I would not tolerate if they said it about atheists. I would not tolerate it. I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm not going to invest any time in watching that. I'm just not going to. And I just quit cold turkey, never went back. And I'm still pissed.
Mm-hmm. But that really illustrates how even the news is not, it's not a fixed, like there's no definite like black line right down the middle. This is good and this is bad.
Yeah.
Like things can creep over. Like normally you're like on the, and even Trevor Noah does it. Even Trevor Noah ticks me off every once in a while. Like you can creep over into, you know, that really wasn't cool. And it's when you start, you know, like staying over where you can't tolerate it that it gets to be too much. I didn't always hate Fox News, but like you, I'll never watch it again. If it's
I
on,
don't
I
watch
turn
it.
it off. I don't put any stock in their reporters. It's, you know,
It's all BS. Well, and Clint drives me crazy because he hate listens to it.
Oh,
He'll have it
really?
on in the car. Yes, he listens to the 5. That's one of their shows, and I hate it. And I'm like, and I said, why do you listen to this? And he said, well, I need to know what the other side thinks. And I'm like, they think twat. They think it's no, and it's just all asshole opinion stuff. So, anyways, but he still does it. He still listens to it.
Is that fair of us?
Well, I mean, I've listened to it enough in his car to know it's all twat, asshole opinion stuff. So, yeah.
Well, I know I've listened enough to Fox to realize that I have not seen enough good background information. They don't appear to have real reasons why they say these things. It just comes out of their mouths.
It's just talking head stuff. I don't like talking head stuff. If CNN starts getting into talking head stuff, I'm like nope. That's because they're all opinions. Everyone has one.
It does every once in a while. Now I will look at CNN for, you know, for some opinion stuff, but I don't look at CNN all the time. It's
like,
and we also have to look at, I think we really always need to keep an eye on who owns the people.
Good point.
That are who owns the companies that are putting out the news,
because they are influencing. I mean, back in the 70s, like, okay, I watched a movie about the Washington Post. I've already forgotten the name of it, but it had Meryl Streep, and she played the owner of the Washington Post in the 70s. And the whole thing was about, New York Times had already been censured by the government for releasing some papers. And the Washington Post had access to all of the papers. And there was a whole debate within the company about whether they should do this.
Yeah.
And one of the things I liked about it is the owner, the lady, she put her trust in her editor, even though she knew she could possibly go to jail. And she would definitely lose her company and her fortune.
Yeah.
But she did the right thing, and she felt like it was something the world needed to know about. And so she printed it. She gave the permission to print it. And so it was a news first type thing, money second, company second. Well, that was back in the 70s. I doubt that we really have that anymore. I think it's more company first.
That's very true, because major organizations, CNN is owned by Time Warner, and MSNBC is owned by Comcast. Even The Daily Show and Last Week Tonight, The Daily Show is technically owned by Viacom.
AT&T.
Technically owned by Viacom, who controls Comedy Central. And
well, but
Last Week Tonight is is HBO, which I believe is still owned by Warner Media.
No, well, they are owned by AT&T now.
Oh, HBO is owned by AT&T?
Yeah, because John
okay.
Oliver, one of the things I love about John Oliver, he thumbs his nose at corporate stuff too.
Yeah.
And in every episode, he finds a way to put a dig to AT&T. And then at the end of the dig, he'll say, how do you feel about that, business daddies? You're not my real daddy. You're not my real daddy. And it cracks me up. So he thumbs his nose at them every week. So yeah, AT&T, this is new. I don't remember if it was a merger or if AT&T just bought them. But yeah, AT&T owns HBO. And they've already... What I read, they've already started making changes to shows, and people are a little nervous. People are glad that Game of Thrones is ending, so that they can't get their tendons into Game of Thrones, but they're worried about the prequel, what this is going to do to the prequel.
And we know Fox is now owned by Disney.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
I don't know how that's going to change Fox, if at all. Disney may have just bought, look, you go over in your little corner, you make your money. We're just going to let you do whatever you want.
Fox News may be different. Do we know that they bought Fox News or just like Fox, the company? Because I
think they bought the whole shamil. Okay. I don't think Fox News is a separate entity. Fox News is simply a subcategory, I believe. Anybody who knows differently, please feel free to correct us. I believe it is a sub-entity under Fox.
Because I know everybody was talking about how, hey, maybe was it X-Men? No, X-Men is Sony. Somebody, I can't remember, somebody could be in the Avengers or the MCU movies now.
There are a couple of, like, Fast Company has a piece from 2017. What happens to Fox News after the Disney Fox merger? And it doesn't seem to say much on it. Well, Fox News is not going to be a part of Disney. 21st Century Fox will spin off Fox News, Fox Broadcasting Network. Oh, so I thought it's a separately traded company now.
I think so. I think I remember that. And of course, I'm on Google News now, and I'm just looking at the site. It says Fox News is not going to be a part of Disney. As part of the Fox-Disney merger, 21st Century Fox will spin off Fox News, Fox Business, and the Fox Broadcasting Network into a new separately traded company. All right, so they're on their own now.
So fear not. Keep hating Fox. It's all right.
Yeah, they're not going to become Disneyfied, which would be interesting if they did, because one of the things I always thought was ironic is when you look at Fox News, that's a lot of the I'm trying to say this without pissing people off, but the far right people who sometimes tend to be the very fundamental, traditional, religious people.
And I associate Fox with that now.
But have you ever seen the Fox TV shows? They do things like Paradise Island. I think they do Paradise Island. That's a new one where, you have to wear a skimpy bathing suit and hook up with people. They do the most sensationalist TV shows out there. That's one of the reasons why I say it's company first and profits first, because they have two different warring ideals within the same network, and nobody seems to notice or care.
Yep. Well, Chase says Mickey Mouse will be more honest reporting on the news than Fox News.
That's true. He just calls it like he sees it.
I would trust Mickey Mouse far more than I'd trust Fox.
He would be like, Trump down in the polls. Yeah! That's what he'd say.
Now, where do podcasts fit in with news sources? I don't think I've ever really used, unless it's to get more information on a subject. I do listen to The Stand with Eamon Dunphy. Okay. The Stand with Eamon Dunphy does get into political news, and it digs fairly deep. Do you ever get your news from other podcasts other than, things like, I don't know, Very Good Entertainment?
Well, of course, we get lots of news and entertainment from here. Well, I really go to podcasts more for opinions. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't like a lot of talking heads, but I guess it's better if you can't see the talking head. I like talking voices. But I do like to go to listen to opinion and have them break down the news. And sometimes, they have expertise that I don't have, like if they're lawyers or if they're, just political junkies, which is one of them. I used to listen to Political Junkie all the time. It was from NPR, and I loved it. It was Ken Rudin and another guy, and they're so funny. They just had really good chemistry, and they just really they would riff off each other. It was hilarious. And then the show they were part of, Talk of the Nation, got canceled, and they had a farewell show, and I cried, and I went on my way. It was when I was doing research for the show that I looked up Political Junkie, and I started seeing 2019, and I was like, turns out if I paid attention, I would have realized that Ken Rudin shopped his show to someone else, and it's still been airing since then. So I missed 6 years of shows. I took them at face value. I guess you could say maybe I was too trustworthy there. I took them at face value, and they said, "Bye, we're off the air, bye." And I was like,
"Bye." A lot of catching up to do.
I know.
So I guess podcasts can be an actual source of news if news people are actually on there.
Yeah, and they can help me break down things. I mean, if they have, if they're a lawyer, this would be a great time to listen to podcasts. If there's a lawyer, they could talk about the Mueller report and, talk about what there is to do, what possible paths forward there are, what can and can't be done legally.
Yes,
so it's very useful.
Because what's her face? I can't remember who's calling for Trump's impeachment now.
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren is calling for Trump's impeachment, and I have no idea what in the Mueller report. Like, was it just his attempt to stop the Mueller report? What was it? Something in the Mueller report itself? Just like you said, I'd like to hear from some people who have a basis in the law going through this report, because I could read it. I could read it all day and night, and I would not understand half of what it says. I don't.
Yeah, or the repercussions.
Yeah, I don't have the expertise or the experience or the education to understand most of what it says.
Yeah, that's why that's one of the things I dislike about politicians, because a lot of times they'll say this: we must impeach, we must do this, and that's just a rallying cry. Dog whistle, as people call it, dog whistle. That's all that is. That's not useful. That doesn't tell us anything. Can we? I don't want them to start impeachment process if we can't legally impeach him, because, I mean, according to the Mueller report, we can read it all if we want to. I just haven't. I'm just kind of getting bits and pieces here. But, some of the stuff I read have said that he actually didn't do some of the things that we thought he did because his staff stopped him from doing it. So if he didn't do it, even if he had intent to do it, is that enough? And I think a lot of the people who are saying impeach him are going off the intent, like a moral character type thing.
Yeah.
Which I get. I mean, I don't want someone as president who's trying to get people fired because they don't like them, because, they're not giving them the outcome they want. I don't want that person as president. But is that enough evidence to do it? I mean, just because you think it, if you don't do it, do you get punished?
Yeah, I mean,
and on that note, my batteries.
I have. Oh, your battery's going?
Yeah, so I just have to move over to the chair that Kat vacated a while ago. So I'm just going to turn my video and sound off for a second.
I totally have the opinion that, I can have an opinion. I can have an opinion all I want. But there really needs to be a reason for me to believe that Trump has done something so bad we need to impeach him. I mean, not that I would be unhappy if they started impeachment proceedings. I think it would it would really highlight a lot of the problems that we're having now in the government process. But if there's really no legal basis behind it, it turns into a kangaroo court. And that's not fair, not just to Trump. I don't really want to be fair to Trump, but it's not fair to other people who may come after Trump or maybe a victim of setting the precedent for impeachment proceedings when they don't need to happen. Hey, look, I survived you being gone. You can hear, I don't know if you can hear me. La, la, la. Let me see if I can bring up read the Mueller report. Oh, yeah, it's just a searchable document and index, but it does have key takeaways. I don't think, there have been some who've been charged. Oh, and here's this bloody, the cost. The New York Times, you drive me nuts. I can't find a actual article, the Mueller report that doesn't cost money. That's another thing I need to bring up. Let's see. Junkie, Ken Rudin. Aha, yes. New York Times. New York Times. I think I don't consider the New York Times untrustworthy.
I'm back.
Hello. You know, I brought up that read the Mueller report and I got subscription options. So there's another topic. How does cost figure into news? I mean, most of us do digital news now. Like almost none of us actually subscribe to a paper.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, like you go to the New York Times and it brings up this paywall. Have you ever...
Same thing with the Washington Post.
Yeah, like the Washington Post. Have you ever paid for, like, or just created a free account for the free month?
No, I don't do that because, well, I don't want to game the system. I know plenty of people do that, but I'm just not the kind of person. I just don't, you know, people are like, oh yeah, I'll get HBO for, long enough to watch Game of Thrones and then cancel it. I don't like gaming the system. I don't do that. And plus I would probably forget to cancel it and get charged. So no, I don't do that. But,
that's why I go to NPR.
It's free.
Because I don't get charged for NPR.
Now, I have donated money to PBS before, and I will again one day when I have money. I
believe PBS is still under the NPR auspices because NPR was created by an act of Congress, and the PBS was created after that.
I think they're related. I don't know how all that works, but I think of them as the same, just one's audio and one's video.
I know NPR was created by an act of Congress, much like the BBC was created by the British state.
Mm-hmm.
So it technically belongs to us.
Yeah, nice. And I like that.
Does all our news have to be free, or is there something that you're willing to pay for?
Well, when I go, I love the Guardian. When I go to the Guardian, I love the way they do it because they pop up a little thing. It's not intrusive. It's at the bottom. It says, "We took a different route. Would you like to support us?" And I will. I promise, Guardian. I'm just broke, but I will. I plan to. I plan to give them money because they do good reporting. And they're nice enough to let me read it without giving them money. Because I do understand practically they have to pay their writers. They probably want to make a profit. They have to pay the editors. I understand that. They have to make money. So I get that. So I want to give them money. But Washington Post pisses me off because every time, because I'll accidentally click on something of theirs without realizing it's Washington Post. And immediately after I click on it, this big white thing will spring up that says "Democracy dies in darkness." That's their paywall. And it pisses me off because I'm like, democracy dies because I can't read your damn articles, you asshats. Let me read your damn articles. It's like, so I won't click on a Washington Post article because I know it's going to be a paywall and there's no point. And so I will forget that they exist. They'll go out of people's conscious and I feel like they'll end up failing. No, well, I mean, if they would find a different way to do it.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like it's the content that's controlled by subscription, like HBO and Disney, and every one of these places are creating subscription zones. Well,
it's too much.
We can't afford it all. I can't afford to buy the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Business Insider, and Sports Weekly, and I can't afford to do all those. So I pick the ones that don't cost money. Now I understand these companies need to make money.
Yeah.
But
they also have advertisements.
Yeah, they also have advertisements, and that's irritating. So how how do you fix it? If we only had NPR, that would be really bad. It'd be really bad if we only had one news service, because that would smack of governmental interference.
That's China. That's China. And that would be China.
And Trump has publicly spoken out in support of that, having a state-sponsored news service.
He doesn't even get it. One of the things that pisses me off is he doesn't even get what he's saying. He wants to be China. He doesn't even get how wrong it is. It's like, get that word out your mouth, you asshole.
I realize
not even smart enough to understand.
Yeah, I realize Fox is a bunch of asshats to me.
Yeah,
I don't particularly like MSNBC or a lot of the other ones either. But I'm still glad that those widely differing opinions and ways of presenting news are there. Because without them, we wouldn't be getting the whole story. And every once in a while, they get it right. Every once in a while, they get it right.
Clock is right. Clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
Broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
I really don't like Fox. I mean, because they spin everything toward Trump being good. They spin everything.
Yeah.
And I would like something more balanced.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the things that I mentioned is Huffington Post. I stopped reading them because I used to like them. That's Ariana Huffington's newspaper. It was hers. And I used to like it, even though it could be sensationalistic and it was unabashedly liberal. So it was a bit annoying, but I liked it. But they sold to AOL and it just became so sensationalistic. It's like every headline had to be exclamation points, and it was just, it turned to me salacious. And I just felt dirty reading it. So I stopped reading it, which is a shame because I loved it. It was a big source of my news, but I just didn't want it. I didn't want it anymore. So I haven't read it since then. So I guess the takeaway is I don't.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I guess the takeaway with me is I don't like things that are salacious. I don't like things that are manipulative. I don't like things that present only part of a story to try to sway you toward one thing. I don't like things that make things simplistic. To give an example, when I was trying to watch videos on the Mueller report, like different, sources, and I was listening to one talking head, and she said, "Well, if you're not guilty, you don't have anything to hide." And that made me mad. I'm like, have you not seen what happens in the justice system here? Just because you're not guilty doesn't mean you shouldn't be nervous. People are strung up all the time when they're not guilty. And that just pissed me off because she was saying that from a liberal perspective, like, well, if he's not guilty, he shouldn't have to worry. Well, don't that's too simplistic. That's not the way the world works. You can be not guilty and still worry. And it just pissed me off, and I stopped watching that. I had a hard time finding anything that I wanted to watch.
Yeah, it can get complicated. News can get complicated.
Yeah.
And I have seen firsthand where the news can be manipulative.
And I hate that.
They will post pictures of a person in their worst moment just to make them seem guilty. They will take part of the information and make it sound like it's fact, like it's the whole thing
it's
you need
spinning.
to know. Yeah. The media disproportionately portrays people of color as hooligans and hoodlums and thieves and drug dealers. That's true. Totally disproportionately to everyone that is out there, trying to make you think that this is what all people of color are like, which that infuriates me no end. And the one trick that really gets me is when one area of the country receives one slant of a story, and the other part of the country will receive an entirely different slant on the same article.
And they do that.
I've seen it.
They hear things.
They did it even when they distributed newspapers. I compared a newspaper with a friend on the East Coast. We had different newspapers. It was creepy.
That is creepy. And you think, like, if it's a national newspaper, you expect that you're getting the same thing. I always assumed we were all getting the same thing.
No, and especially if you're online, probably one of the best things you can do if you want it really unbiased, I believe, is to go incognito on your browser when you look for news.
Because then it won't pick up your location.
Yeah. Well, it won't. Yeah, it won't pick up who you are. It won't bias the news based on what it's learned of you. Then you can look at different areas to see what they're being shown.
And when you're only being shown what they think you like, that's how you end up with tunnel vision. Because it's an echo chamber. You're being fed what they think you want, and so that actually propels the view that you already have. So you'll never hear any other views. So you think Trump is bad, Trump is good, Republicans are bad, Republicans are good, and that's all you know. And it may seem harmless to some people, but if you take it in a broader view, that's how racism happens. Because you're only told one thing, these people are bad, you're good. Anytime you have one point of view shoved down into your throat to the point that you don't realize there's anything else, that's when people get these deep-seated views that they can't shake because it's part of who they are.
Yeah, that is an excellent way of putting it. Do you have any recommendations for people? My recommendations would definitely be to understand what you want to get out of the news. What do you think people should do when they're looking at the news? How to use it to best effect in their own lives.
Try to distinguish opinion from fact. If someone's telling you something, try to look for alternative sources before you decide, well, they said that so-and-so did this. Before you just believe them, Google it, look for other articles, because you may find other articles that say, well, actually, this is what happened. So you have to make your own opinion, but you need as broad of sources as you can get. So it takes work. You can't just go by what other people tell you. If you do, then you're just a puppet of that person. You have to put work into it, and it's not easy. And learn to say, I don't know. I have to say that a lot. If someone asks me something, I have to say, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think I read that. You know, I mean, a lot of people don't like that because they say it makes you sound not strong and not sure. And I'm like, well, I'm not sure. I'm not going to tell anyone I know something if I don't. Mm-hmm. I'm not. So yeah, if I'm not sure, I'm going to say, I think.
It is perfectly okay to be ignorant if you're looking on ways to fix that ignorance.
Yeah. And I mean, well, and we can't know everything. That's another thing.
Yes.
People think that they have to be experts on everything. They don't have to be experts on anything. If you don't know, like I said, I haven't learned how to do VPN yet. I'm not going to lie and say I do it. I'm just not in the right headspace to learn anything new right now. Mm-hmm. So it's okay. We can't know everything. It's okay if you're like, with the Mueller report, I'm not going to go get my Juris Doctorate degree so I can read the dang Mueller report. I'm not going to do it. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't have the brain power. So I'm not going to know that ever. But I have to figure out who I can rely on who does know that stuff. So sometimes it's not about trying to know everything yourself. It's also about learning who you can trust. You have to figure out for yourself how to know who you trust. That's a personal thing.
I'd also say, you know, here in America, we are a capitalist society. Follow the money. Mm-hmm. Who's paying the journalist?
Yeah.
Is that journalist being affected by the dollar amount they're receiving? Mm-hmm. Or are they truly allowed to say the truth?
Yeah, and I'm glad you said, are they allowed to say the truth? Because it may not be the journalist's choice. Back, like I said, back in the 70s, you know, there was a line between journalism and advertisement and money and profit and all that stuff. But that line's gone. So sometimes you don't know until you see a documentary about a company just how much influence the company has on what's reporting. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to do some investigation of your own. Try to figure out this reporting. Is this something independent, or is this being shadowed by the person who owns the paper, who probably has money that he gets from so-and-so, or he has some sort of agreement with a politician, or you know, you just don't know what kind of shadow deals are going on. So you just kind of have to keep vigilant and read articles and try to figure out who you can trust and who you can't.
Yeah, I'd say there are some specialists that you can probably trust. If it's a story on a medical condition, such as immunizations, you should probably just ask your doctor. If you trust your doctor has that medical degree, you can probably trust your doctor to telling you the truth. Probably. Now,
they get kickbacks. You have to be careful. Not all of them, but some of them get kickbacks.
Well, yeah, but usually you can trust your doctor to tell you the truth. Usually. Now, if you need a second opinion, you're always welcome. You're free to go and ask another doctor their opinion. But again, you know, follow the money. Okay. Are they getting paid?
I mean, they get kickbacks.
Yeah. For specific drugs and things like that. Not all of them.
Not all of them.
But if you want to know, are immunizations good for my children? In general?
Well, yes, they are.
In general, you can probably trust your doctor to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking
I'm
knocking anybody who doesn't know. If you don't know, ask. It's perfectly okay to ask.
I believe that too. Ask. If you don't know, ask.
Don't go to
Don't feel
Goop.
bad.
Don't go to Goop. She doesn't have a medical degree. She's never gone to school. Come on.
What's that?
Goop?
Is that the Gwyneth Paltrow thing?
Yes.
Is that the Gwyneth Paltrow thing?
Yeah, don't trust Gwyneth Paltrow.
I've never been to it. I thought she sold products. I thought she just sold products. Is she giving advice?
She sells products that she swears are gonna, fix these problems for you. Actually, I don't know if she does it anymore. She got in big trouble for it. But things like that, if these people have not been to medical school, okay, these are not the people that you need to be trusting. If
in most cases they're getting paid.
Yeah, if you've come out of a science program from a university or a college, you are well able to go through an abstract, which is absolutely free to look at, of any major paper.
That's true.
To see whether it's worth looking at the information inside. If the abstract is telling you, I don't know about the conclusions on this, then
that's not a good sign.
That's probably not a good idea. You can tell the difference, and then you can be part of the solution instead of just jumping to social media and people throwing things at you. Oh, put onions in your socks to clear up your fungal infections.
At the same time, now I am going to play devil's advocate. I do some home remedies, and some of them work, some of them don't. Some of them are witches' tales or whatever you call them. And some of them have some valid, because I do believe in the wisdom of the ages and things that people have done for thousands of years. So
if there's a medical basis for it, then yeah. But you probably shouldn't trust, shoving that fertility goddess down your pants to clear up your chlamydia.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm definitely not going to do that. Yeah.
You may want to go to the doctor. You may want to go to the doctor and say, hey, I don't really like taking antibiotics. Is it okay if I shove this statue down my pants? Will it do me any good?
Well, to give you an example, okay, I've had high blood pressure for a long time, probably 15 years. And I was on medicine, and a lot of medicine. One medicine made my arms go numb, like I couldn't feel them at all.
Mm-hmm.
Another medication, well, it took away it. I won't say, but anyways, it did another thing, and I just hated them. They all had horrible side effects that I couldn't live with. So I went to the health food store, and the guy said, "Try this." This is going to sound like an infomercial. It's not. Michael's Blood Pressure Factors. That's the name of the stuff. And I started taking it, and within 3 days, my blood pressure went from 180 over to 100 to something like 116 over 70 within 3 days. And it's like cayenne pepper. I mean, they're herbal stuff. They're natural stuff. And I do believe that some of the stuff that the universe, nature, God put down for us can be used for those reasons. Now, with that said, if you have a serious problem, don't go to the health food store. If, you have something crawling out of your vagina and you're like, what is this? Don't go to the health food store, go to your doctor.
Yeah.
But you can do the health food store in conjunction with your doctor. In my case, all the medication they put me on had these horrible side effects that I hated. I went to the health food store and got this herbal stuff, and I've been taking it for like 10 years. And if I remember to take it, then my blood pressure is great. Now I forget to take it because I'm an idiot. But when I take it, it's great. So I am all about, if you can find a natural remedy that for something that's not, not obviously something you have to go to a doctor for. If somebody cuts off your arm, you're not going to the health food store. You're going to the emergency room. But, sometimes the natural way trumps the pharmacy way. It's just, you have to look at the pros and cons of both and be careful.
Yes.
Don't, if it's serious, go to a doctor. Don't, everyone has their own way. But another good example is there's someone I met on Twitter, and I feel so bad for him because he's in a really bad place. He's constantly saying he's going to kill himself, like every day. And I've been trying just to keep him motivated, keep him going as much as I can from half a world away. But he's in Indonesia, and I found some phone numbers for helplines. He said those don't work anymore. And he said that no one in his country takes this seriously. And I don't know that much about Indonesia, but I know some countries are like that. They don't think about like feelings. They're not thinking about emotional health. They just think about the daily grind, do your work and stuff. So it feels like that's where he's at. So he said he couldn't go to a doctor about it because he doesn't have access to those kind of prescriptions. Because I told him about the anxiety medicine I was on, and he said he doesn't have access to that. And I said, do you have like a health food store or an herbalist or anything? And he said, there's an herbalist down the street. I said, please go. Because I know that, I've taken stuff for anxiety, like natural type stuff, and it's helped. Like, what is it? Valerian root is really helpful for anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I said, go. And he said he would. I don't know if he ever did, but he said he would. And in his case, that's his only option, is something like that. Because when you're in a country where I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't know anything about Indonesia. But if you are, say he's in a rural area, he may not have access to mental health providers. I'm going to try to get him to wherever he can go to get something. Mm-hmm. Something's better than nothing.
That's true. And, if you are in an area it gets very hard in those areas, especially with concern to news, learning, because they may cut you off from specific news.
Yeah, that's true.
That becomes very difficult. And that's a problem I don't know. Other than perhaps a VPN, I don't know how to solve that problem.
And the cases like North Korea and China, you can go to jail or be disappeared if you're caught going to those websites.
Yes, exactly.
They take their lives in their hand every day. Mm-hmm. I mean, the people who live there and do their best to dissent, they are very brave people. And sometimes they pay the price.
Mm-hmm. So definitely understand what you want to get out of your news. And know that news is constantly getting more and more depressing every day. But that does not mean that the world is imploding. It really doesn't. There's still plenty of hope out there, and there's still plenty of good things out there. If you read all the news, it's going to depress you. Take all your news, with that grain of salt.
Definitely.
Wading through news that's not important to you just gives you a headache and it stresses you out.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing. I hate to say this, but I've had to kind of put a wall in my brain of news that I don't need to know about and news I need to know about.
Yes.
If something, I will, if something big happens in another country, I will pay attention. But like with the Belfast woman who was killed, of course I'm paying attention to that because it's horrible. And if Northern Ireland collapses and if Ireland collapses, we're all effed. But some things, when I'm flipping through my phone and looking at news, if it's like tiger born in Sri Lanka, I'm like, that's interesting, but I can't fill my brain with stuff I don't need. I have to delineate and keep the stuff I don't need out because it's overwhelming. Nobody in history has had the amount of information we have thrown at us. And it's just really overwhelming. And I have to shove some of it over.
Yeah. It may be useful for some people to only look for specific topics in their news. I mean, the tiger born in Sri Lanka, a tiger born in, a rare tiger born in Sri Lanka might be of really intense interest to an ecological doctor, but
or a biologist,
but most of the rest of us are going to go, that's nice, I'm just going to keep moving on. I'm more interested in immigration because I'm interested in what's happening to the people here on the West Coast. How are the immigrants in my community being treated? What is their prospect for the future that directly affects the rest of the people in my community? That's why it's important to me. So I look for it. In somewhere else that doesn't have an immigrant problem, it may be of less interest to them. It may not be an issue that they want to concentrate on. People in the beer industry may want to concentrate more on, what's coming out of San Diego, because maybe we want to do something different.
Yeah.
Totally personal. There's so much news out there. Look at what you want to look at. And
everyone has to decide what's important to them.
Yes. Understand what's understand the truth behind it. And if you don't think it's quite true, go looking. Dig a little, and then dig a little more. Make it bleed till it bleeds the truth. It's perfectly okay for you to question the news that is put in front of you. Absolutely. No matter what side it comes from. If it comes from a Democrat and you think it's a lie coming out of their mouth, question it. And ask, what are the facts, and are the facts true?
Yeah, and don't be ready to jump on a bandwagon. That's part of the problem. People are like, what? You said that Michael Jackson is still alive and he lives in a tunnel? I have to go see this now. Don't. That's another thing we need to learn as a society. Don't react and don't be so quick to jump at things. That's part of the problem. That's part of what causes this. People are so ready to jump at things. No, I'm in a tizzy. No.
Yep.
React slowly. Take your time. If someone says something, don't just be like, oh my God, you're so right. Go and look it up. Or if someone says something, you don't even have to react. And you can just be like, that's probably not true. Whatever. Moving along. We don't have to put ourselves into every conversation.
Yeah.
We don't all have to share our opinion. It's okay to just shut up. And, I don't have to respond to this person who's saying something stupid.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on and do other stuff. And then if I decide there's merit to what they say, I may come back and be like, I apologize. The moon really is made of cheese. I saw this scientific article and they did the moon rocks and they tested them and it's cheese. It's true.
It's true.
It's true. Yeah, and then you can go back and say, you know what? You were right. I'm so sorry I poo-pooed your idea about the moon being made by cheese, but I did some digging and you are absolutely right.
Yeah, and if the facts don't support your assumption, definitely apologize. It's perfectly okay to be wrong about something. Okay, you can feel like an idiot for a little while. Don't feel like your entire world has ended just because you were wrong about something.
I say stupid stuff all the time. You want to know what I said last week that was stupid? There's these people I visit. I've been visiting for 10 years because I started visiting their dog, Ladybug, and then I just became friends with them. So I visit every week. Well, they got 2 puppies, and they're the cutest puppies in the world. I love them so much. One is One is a baby Chihuahua, tiny. The other is a baby Maltese / Pomeranian, so tiny. So these two dogs are totally different breeds. And I knew that going in. I knew that. Laid that information out for me, no question. I turned to the lady and I said, "Are they actually brother and sister?" And she said, "No, that one's a Chihuahua. That was a Maltese / Pomeranian." I felt so stupid in that moment. I felt so stupid. I don't know what I was thinking. I just wasn't, the connections weren't being made in my brain. I just wasn't even thinking.
Yep.
I was like, and she said that, I was like, I feel so dumb right now. I was like, you're right. I don't even know what I was thinking. My brain is not working. It just happens.
And I've felt like that about
I'm still like, I can't believe I said.
And I've felt like that about a few bits of news recently. Like, you know, the whole thing about Bernie Sanders being part of the 1% came out. And my initial thought was, oh, Bernie Sanders, part of the 1%. Oh my God. And then I realized, well, he's releasing his taxes, so we're going to know if he paid his taxes anyway. Does it really matter? Nah, I'll just move on with my life.
And you have to decide, yeah.
So, you know, my assumption that it was this big, horrible thing, like, was fairly easily squashed by my actually questioning, is this really a big thing, or does it, I mean, we're going to find out. It doesn't really matter. We're going to find out. It's not like Trump, who still hasn't released his taxes. Okay? We don't know. We don't know who he's owing money to.
We don't know how many bankruptcies he's had, or I think the biggest shocker would probably be how he probably has on there, because I would imagine, this is just a guess, but I would think he has stuff on offshore accounts.
Yeah, he may.
But that's just me. That reminds me, I'm so mad at myself. I'm so mad. When Xfinity had their free preview of all the channels and I was watching Epics, I started watching the Panama Papers, which is a documentary about all the offshore accounts in Panama. And I forgot to go back and finish it.
Man.
And now the free previews. I know, I'm like, boo on me, boo on me, boo on me. I'm so mad at myself.
Well, there may be other things out there free that explain it too.
I'm sure I could look up articles and stuff if I really wanted to. And excuse me, it just made me mad.
Yeah. I'm mad at myself whenever I don't take those opportunities too. Well, do you have any other recommendations for our listeners on news in general?
I think we about covered who the people who I think are worth reading or watching.
And our readers sent in mostly, you know, like a lot of what we actually look at. NPR, CNN, MSNBC, Daily Show last week, tonight, and BBC were all the ones that our listeners actually said that they pay attention to. And I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to name names. So I hope that our listeners have gained some bits of useful information from our pitfalls. And of course, if you want real beer news, if you want to know if somebody's releasing something, go straight to the brewery. If the brewery doesn't have a website, they probably have a Facebook page. If they don't have a Facebook page, you can probably find out on Untappd. Probably. Well, with that,
Mhm.
I'm going to start the end of show patter if that's okay with you.
Ooh, that's fine with me.
Well, if you like our content, supporting Beery Good Entertainment's continued production is as easy as a click. Please visit beeryge.com and purchase through any of our affiliate links. From Amazon products to Humble Bundle games, we have lots of ways for you to save. Be on the lookout for special Twitter links to access British entertainment shows and sales from our favorite stores. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook as @BeeryGE, and share your favorite beers with us on our Beery Good Entertainment group on MeWe. Please, Lola, tell us where in the world can we find you?
I'm on Twitter at Lola Laracy, LOLALARISCY. MeWe, I think I'm Lola Laracy there. Of course, I'm always posting under Scannerdrome and Very Good Entertainments. One day I'll update my website, which is lolalaracy.com, but you can get my whole audio book for Trudy Lim, Spaceship Captain Earth Detective there. Plus my stories, audio versions are there. And you can get some of the PDFs of the written out versions of my stories. So that's a good place to go. That's it for now.
Well worth it. Trudy Lim is an exciting and wonderful romp. I really enjoyed reading it. Really.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I am Sorceress Zero, otherwise known as Linda Tepler, and you can find me at lindatepler.com. Please check out my new ebook, Hunchback. It's a steampunk adventure.
Mm-hmm.
It will be out on Amazon Kindle Monday, April 22nd, with the audiobook to follow probably in May. Well, guys, this has been episode 57. Please join us next time, episode 58, when we actually talk about another British entertainment episode. And don't forget, oh my goodness, all my words just flew out of my head. Please, guys.
Well, Humble Bundle.
Oh yes, Humble Bundle. We will definitely get more Humble Bundles out there on MeWe and Twitter for you to take a look at. You guys, please have a great night and have a great beer. Good night.